Hey guys, DMS3TV here. Today I have with me Modhouse Mini-Cubes. Now these are very small speakers. Actually, you can see them right here behind me. I'll go and grab one. And as I've said, they're made by Modhouse Audio. Now, as you guys may recall, I did a review of the Argon, which you can find right here, which I really liked. Unfortunately, you can't buy them anymore. So these I got from a friend, and I was pretty excited to see what they were like because I liked Modhouse's headphones, or their T50 mods. So I got these in the mail and tried them with a variety of different amplifiers, and I have a fair bit to say about the sound, but before I get into that, I want to talk about the build overall. These are a single dynamic driver, a full range unit. There's nothing else on here except for a plug on the back. These are passive, they're not powered, so you will have to have an amp separately to use these. Now, these are sealed, and I've been told there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on inside here, but I haven't opened them up, I haven't looked. They're not super heavy, but they do have some weight to them. So, I mean, I can only guess that I don't know what's going on in here, but, I mean, they're reasonably solid. For the price, I'm pretty sure these are $120. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put the price up on the screen. But for the price, they feel reasonably well built. I mean, they are actually made out of wood. It's not like a vinyl sticker or anything like that. And I mean, you can tell the pieces have been cut and actually slotted together all the way around. So nothing really to complain about on build. You could use banana plugs on the back if you wanted, or just stick in speaker wire and screw it down. And they're not specifically intended for one spot. So you could use these as desk speakers, you could use them as surrounds in a home theater, you know, whatever. Of course, I'm going to talk about this more in a moment, but if you use them in a home theater, you're definitely going to want to use them with some kind of sub. While they do have moderate low frequency reproduction, so kind of branching off into that, these are very well purposed, in my own opinion, for near fields. Now, this would be, you know, something you set on your desk to listen to music with. You'll need a small amp. I was actually using the like $30 Leppy amp on Amazon, which I will link to the video description. It's not a phenomenal amp, it's not a bad amp. The amp definitely distorted before the speakers did, that's for sure. It didn't push them as hard as they wanted to go. But it does have some nice features, like the fact that it's small, low power, and has a built-in EQ, and by a built-in EQ, I mean there's a knob for treble and a knob for bass. Now, with that being said, there are two things I found that was essential to using the Mini-Cubes. One was having some slanted pads to angle them up towards me, or having them on stands of some kind so that they're at eye level. These sounded a lot better when they were either facing me or at eye level. And the other thing was adding a little bit of bass in the EQ. I mean, they do sound fine flat, and if you wanted to use these with a sub, they would sound just fine. But I felt like they did need a little bit more bass at the stock tuning, so I did EQ in a little bit of bass, and it did help quite a bit. I didn't have any issues overpowering the speakers on the Leppy. I did bottom them out once. I know this is gonna sound terrible. I did bottom them out once when I put them on a much higher wattage amplifier, but I mean, they'll easily take 50 watts a piece from what I've tested. And that being said, the farther you are away from them, if they're evenly spaced, if you're, you know, set up properly in a perpendicular triangle with them at eye level where you're not in the center of the room, I mean, they're going to sound, you know, absolutely fine in a home theater setting with some kind of a sub. And they do have, you know, a reasonable amount of lows to them, set like definitely more than you're going to get out of a TV or anything like that. Now, I will say, of course, you know, there are some drawbacks. I did compare these to my A2s, my Audio Engine A2s, which actually you can see them sitting right there also. The A2s definitely had better imaging, and the A2s felt like they had a little bit more body, but the A2s are $250. Whereas the Mini-Cubes are $120, and the Mini-Cubes had better sub-frequency reproduction, and they had significantly better high-frequency reproduction. So with that in mind, I mean, the Mini-Cubes are definitely good value. I mean, I'm still gonna be using my A2s because I already have a set, but I would certainly prefer the Mini-Cubes in a home theater environment, or if I had to go back and if I was just spending money out of pocket buying something, I'd get the Mini-Cubes before I'd buy the A2s, simply because of the price to performance. So once again, I'm going to say that I'm pretty impressed with what Modhouse has done. Once again, I really want to see what they come out with in the future. I mean, so far it's been 2 for 2 out of things that I reviewed with them. And I know I didn't get too much into detail on these. I will say, just as an added note, I mean, if you're just talking about what their stock tuning is, it's relatively neutral. Pretty much about as neutral as you could possibly imagine. There are some spots where they're slightly lacking in lower mids compared to some other speakers, but really that's something that can be EQ'd in just fine, and I don't see that as any sort of a loss, especially considering the price of these small speakers. It definitely surprised me, I'll say that. I didn't expect the sound I got out of them for their size. I was very impressed by the sound for their size. So guys, I greatly appreciate you tuning into this one. Let me know what you think of the new set. Let me know what you think of the sound, because I got that big microphone and I set it up just barely off camera. So I've done a few things to my camera also, and the lighting, a whole bunch of different crazy stuff. And if you're seeing this on Patreon, you guys already know that I'm actually releasing my videos one release early on Patreon now to pretty much anybody on my Patreon. So if a video comes out Saturday on YouTube, it came out the Wednesday before on Patreon, etc. It's like 3 or 4 days early. So I greatly appreciate everyone who's contributing on there. I actually have a lot of speaker reviews coming in the near future. I've got 1, 2, 3 separate sets of speakers off camera over there, 3 or 4 more sets of headphones, the stock T50s. I know I have the Audio-Technica M40Xs, the Dragonfly Black, a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So stick around, guys, and I will see you next time. Peace.